Welcome back. EverBank Stadium getting ready to host the 81st Gator Bowl. It's the 6th oldest bowl game and an institution in the town. It dates back to the mid-1940s. Joining me now to talk about this year's matchup and the game's future in Duval, and a whole host of other college football topics, is Gator Bowl President Greg McGarity. Greg, thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Okay, so let's start with this year's matchup.
Yes.
We knew it was going to be ACC versus SEC, but you get 19th ranked Virginia after they get upset by Duke in the ACC championship game, taking on Mizzou. How did you end up with this matchup?
Well, it was a weird day to begin with because we were all set at 1:30 on Sunday, and we were all set with our teams, and an hour and a half later, Notre Dame pulled out. So that created a reshuffling of the deck. So we always knew pretty much Missouri was going to be the SEC representative. But as it turned out, Virginia was going to be our representative because Notre Dame pulled out. So that's where we ended the day, and we got a ranked team and a team that really wants to prove something after a little bad taste in their mouth after losing to Duke.
And you mentioned that drama with Notre Dame after Notre Dame gets left out of the college football playoff in exchange for Alabama and Miami. They decide not to play in a bowl game at all. So there's always ripple effects because you have these bowl tie-ins with the conferences. Even though they're not in a conference, they get the ACC tie-ins. How did that affect the Gator Bowl? What was that day like for y'all?
Well, Thursday before championship weekend, we had all the scenarios worked out. Every scenario you can imagine, none of them had Notre Dame being out. So we knew if Miami was down, not in the college football playoff, they'd probably end up here. If Notre Dame was up, it created dynamics there to where we had to reshuffle the deck. And so it was last minute, so it was kind of anxious moments there, but them pulling out certainly did affect the ACC selection process, and it kind of held everything up a little bit. But it is where it ended up where we are, and two teams are really excited to be here.
Yeah, I am a Miami alumnus, so I was looking forward to them potentially being in Jacksonville, but I'm a little more happy that they're in the college football playoff. Going to that, what do you think about that decision to put Alabama and Miami into the 12-team playoff over Notre Dame?
Well, I've always felt like if you're in a championship game, you should only enhance your position. I don't think you should be penalized. So there's a lot of metrics there. The metrics for Alabama were much better than both Notre Dame and Miami. So I think when the decision came there, the choices were so close, and they had to make a tough decision. So they went to the head-to-head, which determined that Miami would play up.
And you got to win it on the field. And your Georgia Bulldogs won it on the field. You're the athletic director that hired Kirby Smart. So what do you think about the Bulldogs' chances to take that SEC championship and turn it into a college football championship?
Well, they really played well. They're peaking at the right time of the year. It could be a rematch against Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays Tulane in the lead-in game, so rematches are very difficult. But I think they have a better, as good a chance as anyone. But I think all 10 teams, probably not 11 and 12, but all 10 teams have a chance to win the championship. So it's going to be very exciting.
11 and 12, if you don't know, those are the two group of five qualifiers, which would be Tulane and JMU. And speaking of Tulane, their coach, John Summerall, is going to be the new head coach at the University of Florida. And there was a lot of drama. Was it going to be Lane Kiffin as coach, or who was going to come in and lead the University of Florida? You also have a history working at the University of Florida. What do you think about everything that transpired with getting a new head coach there and then the hire of Summerall?
Well, it's very stressful times, and when you're dealing with someone that's as shifty and maybe not as certain as Lane Kiffin was, it created a dynamic that nobody had ever seen before. But I think Florida ended up with the right person. I think it's one of these things, be careful what you wish for, but he's at LSU now. I think Florida's done a great job in getting someone that really is ingrained in the SEC, experience at Kentucky. But I think things are going to turn out well. I think he'll do a wonderful job, and you can already tell by his two hires that he's on his way to doing great things.
Yeah, I think some Gator fans were sweating more than Lane Kiffin at hot yoga, but ended up with the right call getting John Summerall to come to Gainesville. All right, let's bring it back to the Gator Bowl, because we know that all the construction that's taking place right here, you see the cranes up. The Gator Bowl with the Jags are going to Orlando in 2027. What is going to happen with the future of the Gator Bowl past this year?
Well, we'll be in EverBank Stadium next year, just like the Jags, and then 27 we'll go to Gainesville and play like we did years ago before the stadium was being built, the first stadium. So a little history there, but we'll move forward, and the teams will stay here in 27 all week long, and then we'll go over to Gainesville day of the game.
Oh, interesting.
And then come back. So Jacksonville will still be able to host. It's just that the game will move over to Gainesville.
Okay, that's a good point because
Yes.
there's so much that goes on around the bowl game. It's not just the game itself, so all of that will stay in Jacksonville.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for joining us this morning, Greg McGarity, the president of the Gator Bowl. And I know you have a lot to do, so I'm going to let you get right to it.
Good deal.
All right, do you have a pick in this game, or do you have to stay impartial?
I'm impartial. I think it's going to be a great game because you got two teams that really have good offenses. So we'll see.
We shall see. I'm asking that because our producer's a Mizzou grad, and I think he might be.
Great journalism school there at Missouri.
It is a great journalism. Also, I hear they have a really good band. All right.
Yes.
Thanks so much. All right, Mike Prangley is with us now. Going to get a look at the weather.